Reality Talks with your host, Reverend Anim B.
Let's dream.
Come right on in. We got a spot for you.
Greetings and well-being. Welcome to another episode of Dream Reality Talks with your host, Reverend Anim B. Coming to you today with more downloads from the heavens. You know, I'm honored to be a vessel for divine wisdom, which allows me the ability to be able to present this gift to you, the gift of insight. When I think about dreams and all that they provide, it takes a transparent state of awareness that allows the receiver to benefit from the messages that come forth. So in other words, you have to be open and to be honest so that messages can flow and be heard or understood properly. And before I get off into a tangent about my dream, I just want you to know that as a radio host, I've done it for a good while, maybe over 10 years with Hip Minds Radio. I was the radio host of WNRN, which is 95.9 in Charlottesville, VA. And they had other stations that they broadcast through. But the one thing I like about hosting my own podcast is to be able to bring life into my podcast. And, you know, sometimes that can be sound effects, sometimes that could be just comedy. But for me, I like to just be as I am. So you may hear background noise. You may encounter my cat, in which you heard on the first air of Dream Reality Talks. I do have a miniature pinscher, a dog, so you may hear him bark here and there. He's very quiet for right now. I have a full life, so I don't tend to edit that part of my life. It is what it is, right? You know, I like to come as I am, and here I am coming to you today on Saturday. What is this? November the what? It's a pleasure to be able to work from home. Periodically, I may go out to do some things, but working from home, I really sometimes get lost in the actual date. So this is Saturday, November the 6th. Yeah, we are moving in time very fast. And it's going to get faster. That's the good news. It's going to get faster. For some, that may not be so much of a a good thing. And there's my min pen. As you hear him, he hears my son coming in. He likes to greet him with a nice bark. But anyway, as time moves fast, moving on October the 30th, you know, the veil was very thin around that time, going into Hallows Eve. But I like to celebrate and connect with my ancestors around that time. I connect with my ancestors all the time, but at that particular moment on that day, the veil was very thin. So, you know, I had a fascinating dream around me and my partner. In that dream, I was involved in an activity that centered around money and a small collective of people that we were dealing with. And whatever I was doing at the time, I took money from my partner to use towards the collective without her proper consent. Now, in a dream, I wasn't fully aware of how that would affect her, you know. And I'll share a little bit about what happened from that point. But I want to point out that, once again, transparency is necessary to hear. So I give this dream to you in all transparency so that the insight given, is not only to free up my limitations, but to help free someone else's. So going back to the dream, I was innocently, as I stated before, unaware of my actions. My thoughts at that particular time in the astral realm were that my actions were serving the collective. However, my partner saw it differently. She interrupted the meeting as I met with all the individuals that I was connecting with that day. She interrupted that meeting. And she started yelling and going off, calling me out my name. And I thought, this is not like her. Well, it's not what I know of her. I mean, her whole response shocked the hell out of me. Because we never had that type of entanglement, ever. And I say that simply because she knows anything I take, I replace tenfold. So I didn't understand why that was missing in her communication at that time. So after gathering my hurt feelings, the dream started to taper off as I found myself in between the waking and trying to get some more sleep phase. I know y'all are familiar with that particular phase. You're waking up, but you want to go back to sleep and get maybe about 2 or 3 more Z's. But I didn't go back to sleep. I woke up feeling a bit groggy since the night before I took an extremely small half of a half pain tab or pain pill for what I felt to be a chronic situation with my iliopsoas muscle. Anyone not familiar with the iliopsoas, that's the muscle that controls our hip, lower back, being able to flex our lower region. So for me, I believe I took way too much. Outside of the normal realm of doing things, I was completely outside of that. Someone may look upon what I took as, man, that's baby weight. And if that appears to be baby weight to you, then good. Because I don't intend for that to be my natural reaction from this point going forward. But I learned something in the dream realm about this and how this all ties into the dream. I took that simply because all that I wanted to do at that time, as far as stretching, meditation, it just would not relieve that stuck muscle. So I indulged. And I know y'all probably like indulge. You talking about half of a half of a half. What are you talking about indulge? For me, that's indulging. But after coming out of the fog and the grog, I gathered myself by going to the bathroom, brushing my teeth, doing all the natural stuff you do when you get up. And finally, I walked downstairs, and there's my partner feeling so, just being who she is, so happy, joyful, just being herself, or what I know of her. So I'm like, man, Do I really have to bring to this realm what I discovered about her and some aspects of myself that may affect her at this point in time? Like, I really just don't even want to do this. So I continue coming on down the stairs, just trying to navigate all of the logistics in my brain. Then I thought to myself, bump it. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let me just talk to her. So I started talking to her about the dream, expressing that I understood that dream language is vast and talks to us on various levels. But I wanted to gauge her threshold around how we operate within the principle of currency. You know, we always have, it didn't always start this way, but we have open communication about money, you know. So I'm good with talking about what the dream reflected. So as I'm telling her the same things I'm telling you here on the podcast, she laughed and stated, she laughed and stated to me, "I'll never call you out your name." And she was sincere about this. And I'm looking at her like, what the hell you mean? You ain't gonna call me out my name? You already did that. I'm looking side-eye at this point. But then I heard Spirit say to me to embrace her feedback without succumbing to the need of kicking back or needing to respond. Just listen. So that allowed me to remain open to the mystery of my dream and what it meant for me. Because what it meant for me started to unfold. So I'm listening, allowing the conversation to take me, to take both of us into the next conversation. And as we talked more and more, whatever we talked about proceeded to go into the realms of an entanglement. For layman's terms, that just means we started to bicker about nothing. So instead of getting into whatever was not being properly aligned or communicated at that time, we just took out space and said, hey, you go. Nobody said it. We naturally do that. We just go and take out space, and then when we're ready to talk again, we'll talk. So as we did that, my dream started talking to me again. Just, I'm going back to that dream in my head, reminding me to be mindful of how I get myself in entanglements as the mind influences the body. Reminding me to be mindful of how I align my various points of interest with others, because it affects the body. So backtracking, you know how I came downstairs? I started to look at it like I came down onto the lower level to have a conversation about what was received in mind. The mind represents the top floor or the heavens or what's above. Just check this whole act now. Coming down onto the lower level in the house symbolizes the root of something. You know, if you have a dream and you're dreaming of the basement or the lower half of the house, you're tapping into the root of whatever the dream denotes. So that could be a situation, a person, or self, which it all relates back to you in some way, form, or fashion. In my case, the root of my actions led to a miscommunication that opened the door for entanglement to manifest into the dream realm and into my current awakened state, giving rise to the saying, as above, so below. So let's go back to that little itty bitty half of a half pain pill I took for the lower half of my body. Remember, as above, so below. And what is below the heavens it reflects itself in the upper realms. Right? So something that I don't usually do, but I did anyway out of desperation for relief, is showing itself. It's showing itself inside of my mind's eye as I dream. So same as taking the riches or currency, which represents the nutrients and the life force of another, from my partner, which denotes something that is in close relationship to me, like my cells and my organs. You know, when we take synthetic drugs disguised as medication, whether that's over the counter or whether that's narcotics, it robs the nutrients of another cell or organ within the body. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put that link in the description so you can check it out for yourself. So that robbery was happening within the body as I took that little itty bitty tab, trying to look for relief, trying to provide nurturing to my body. My body in the dream represented the collective that I was feeding or giving to at the time. That's some wild stuff, right? That's some Alice in Wonderland, how dreams talk to us. And it talked to me, as it will talk to you, in my awakening state, starting at the top floor, going down to the lower floor, talking to my partner, getting into an entanglement that led to the awakening or the awareness of. Some wild stuff, you know. So my dream was a reminder to my conscious, letting me know all that you know about taking care of and nurturing self. Don't allow that to be pushed to the side out of desperation. There were other precautions that I could have taken. Case in point, my partner is a massage therapist. So why would I not ask for what I need? Because if remember in the dream, I didn't ask. I took without consent. My dream also let me know that when communication is jammed, there's a misdirection of blood flow. The life force that sustains us, which ultimately causes the neurons to misfire. You know, our thinking pattern becomes offset, pretty much like a car when cylinders are misfiring. It affects the way in which the car operates and the flow of fuel. So now I'm back on track with cleaning and clearing my arteries and diving deep into my magnesium regimen, even more than I was before. Like, being in alignment with self, as we call that, living healthy and being healthy on this plane, the earthly plane. Everybody's like, diet, be healthy, do this, do that. Well, you can't just go and diet and be healthy because, before you thought about being healthy, you have been putting whatever into your body. Certain nutrients have been robbed. If you aren't aware of the signs of what nutrients you need, then going on a crash diet could harm you more than help you. So in my higher sense, in the dream, in a very dramatical way, my higher conscious God, if you will, is really talking to me and saying, physician, heal thyself. In short. That is possible, So instead of just jumping out there with crash dieting, or get in tune with your body, get to know some of the signs and the symptoms and ways it talks to you. It talks to you. Mine has talked to me. First with the pain, then with the desperation. Taking something I usually don't take. Dealing with my nutrients being robbed. Aggravating the situation much further than it had to be. Get to know your body. Again, I give you this dream in transparency because it's an important part of the awakening process as to how the divine operates within each and every one of us. So if your mind has wandered off and gotten stuck on the taking part, relax. Relax into this message, because a thief would never bring you the truth. The point of the dream is, dream language is so vast that it's worth exploring. And it offers to us a lot if we just allow. It's not limited to one side of the veil. It just is. It's all over the place. So I'm going to ask you, can you decipher what your inner guidance is telling you? When's the last time you've written your dream out or spoke it out and later transcribed it? And if you don't know how to translate it, that's okay. You can reach me at ankhministries.org to help you come into awareness with your inner guidance system. I invite you to join me the next time on Dream Reality Talks as we continue to explore the other side and how it relates to your reality. And remember to be a guest. Just go to ankhministries.org and contact me. And like I said, if you want your dream deciphered on air or in private and read on air, you can also go to that same link, Ankh, Ankh, meaning life, ANKH, ministries.org, and just send me your inquiry. But until the next time, keep allowing your dreams to shed light on your reality. This is Reverend Anim. I say peace, ashe, and so it is.